You know what? If I was able to actually survive the cold winter, right, without a heater, I'm pretty sure you can do same, right? Never underrate yourself and never underestimate yourself, all right? Just to show you a proof, um, as you can see, this is actually my highest bill, electricity bill, in my current apartment, right? It was actually 201 euros. That was in February 2024. But I actually got into the apartment in November, somewhere October, November, thereabout, November 2023. And my highest bill recorded was actually 201 euros, all right? But I was able to reduce it drastically to what? Um, so if you look at February 2023, I reduced it by more than half, all right? So now 83 euros in February 2025. And I will show you exactly how I did that. All right. So I think basically we often um, try to comply by the masses, what other people do. We try to just uh, copy them. We try to. So it's like you have to know yourself as an individual beyond what the world may say about you. At the end of the day, your opinion about your own self is what matters. All right. Because when you go to sleep, you are the only one in your corner. When you are all alone, your world is in your mind, just as Bob Marley said. Right. You are all alone. You are not having you. So your whole world is your mindset. How you see the world, how you perceive things, all depends on what you. Of course, people will try to influence you. People will try to, tell you what to do and what not to do. People will try to let you understand that all that you are doing means nothing, right? It's not worthy. People will even let you understand that you are worthy of nothing. You are good for nothing. You are useless. People will tell you all these kind of things, all right? But you have the ultimate voice, right? And your world is you. Your world is your mind, beyond what other people say. So you have to know yourself in and out. And of course, understand the world around you. You see, how you respond to the world around you is different from how somebody else responds to the world around them. You get it? We aren't the same. We are similar. Okay, we all have common features, but each and every one is special, is unique. You see, so what works for the masses does not necessarily work for you. Like somebody said, if everybody's jumping from a cliff, all right, a very high mountain or something, if they are all risking it, and you know for a fact that jumping from this cliff, you probably might annihilate yourself, right? You probably might lose your life after you fall to the ground. Would you jump from this cliff simply because everybody's jumping from the cliff? No. Of course, when you refuse to jump from the cliff, some people would label you as, being arrogant, as being thinking that he's all of that, thinking that he's wise, thinking that is they are entitled to their opinions, and they have the right to think the way however they want to think. They have the right to perceive you however they want to perceive you, but they aren't you. All right, because I remember when I noticed that like my bills were just skyrocketing as I've shown you, right? And I noticed that like when I got into the apartment, and my first like when I got into the apartment, let's say ending of summer, right? Or yes, ending of summer, and it started getting cold somewhere in November, and I did not even get into the apartment at the beginning of November, right? So I turned on the heater, and my bills were, at the end of the day, I paid 77 euros, which is very uncommon for somebody occupying a one studio apartment. All right. I mean, I only have a washing machine. At that time, it's like I did not even have a washing machine when I recorded this bill. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I had a washing machine yet. All right. So it's just like electric cooktop, fridge, mini fridge, uh, just turn on the lights and, the heater. All right. But the heating system in the apartment is in such a way that it wasn't like a radiator, like a normal radiator or water radiator or whatever, the hot water radiator system or radiation system. It wasn't like that. This was rather uh, an oil radiator. That's what they call it. Okay. And they usually say that one consumes less compared to, let's say, an ordinary or a direct electric heater. So in my apartment, as I'm sitting to my left, right here, I have like an electric heater mounted to the wall, and in my bathroom, I have that oil-filled radiator. All right. So when I got into the apartment, you- I know myself to be somebody that I don't really like sitting by the heater. So I don't like sitting right close to the heater. I don't really like that. I would like to sit maybe a few inches away from the heater instead of just sitting right by the heater. You get it? But when I got into the apartment, it was also getting cold. And when you get into a new apartment, you have to really take time to settle, organize yourself, and all of that. So it was just hard for me. I was trying to adapt. So I turned on the heater, and I don't know the month. I don't know whether I got into the apartment somewhere around the 20th, which means within just 10 days, I was to pay 77 euros. But I was like, okay, there's no problem. The next month, that was in December, I paid 155. In January, the bill rose to what? 193 euros. In February, it rose to what? 201 euros. And I was like, what is going on? So I didn't know what was just going on. And I just had to endure. Okay. As you can see, I just kept enduring, and kept paying high, high bills, until the winter became over. So after the winter was over, my I realized that my bills started decreasing. So it's like during the winter, the charge per kilowatt hour is always higher compared to summer, for instance, because I don't know why, which is ridiculous to me because uh, I feel like they're supposed to help people during the winter because it's much colder. So they should charge you less, but they rather charge you more during winter, which I don't understand. I don't know. Maybe somebody could tell me why they do that. So uh, when summer came, I started realizing that okay, my bills were started becoming lower. As a matter of fact, but it was still high regardless because if you can you imagine in the month of November, I left for holidays on the 7th of November, all right? And I came back somewhere on the 29th of November. So I wasn't even here to turn on the lights or anything, apart from the fridge that was still on. But see, I paid 58 euros in November. So my bills were still relatively high. And when I came back from holidays, just I came back somewhere 29th December 2024. Sorry, 29th November thereabout 2024. This is the bill that I recorded, as I said, 58 euros. And then December 2024, I started becoming wiser. So I was like, okay, this winter, I was just going to I was not going to turn on the heater here, but I would just turn on only the heater in the restroom, the oil radiator. I did that thinking that was going to save me, it never saved me. I still recorded a bill of 129 euros. And I was like, had to just do something about it, you know? So I was like, I mean, what if I turn on, sorry, what if I turn off both heaters? Which means I'm going to go through this winter. I made up my mind, all right, that I was going to go through this winter without a heater. Had a lot of fear in me, like I probably might suffer from hypothermia, you know, because everybody is used to, you know, I mean, nobody can imagine living in a cold winter without without using a heater or any sort of heating system. So I was really frightened, but I told myself that I was going to endure because I wouldn't want to pay excessive bills as I did the previous month. So I just took it upon myself and said I was going to figure it out. You know, so I got myself these gloves that you can see, and they are not just any ordinary gloves. These are gloves that, you know, when I'm wearing these gloves, I can actually uh, use my phone without. I'm able to touch the screen with these gloves. That's how unique they are. I bought them from here in France. There's a supermarket that sells sporting clothes and those kind of things called Decathlon. Was it Decathlon? Decathlon or something like that. So I got them from there. I did not even know these gloves were this much special. I actually bought them because I wanted to, like, anytime I go to the park to, like, to hold poles and do exercise, I wouldn't hurt my hands. That was the aim. But I decided to use them for winter. So anytime I'm indoors, I would wear them. And I remember people mocking at me. People were like, why are you always wearing a okay, let me continue. Right. So people were like, why are you always wearing gloves when you are at home? Don't you have a heating system? I started wearing this jacket. All right. And I always wear this jacket almost every time. And it's just me. Also, probably because I'm from Ghana, and Ghana is a tropical warm country. So it's like even when it's not cold here, you somebody from a warm country would feel cold, even when people natives here don't see it to be anything. So every winter, I'm just somebody that would always wear, even when the heater is on, I would still put on something a bit heavy, you know. So I got a lot of backlash and a lot of not critics per se, but near say people just, you know, people can't just, when you are different, people would try to, they would just ask a lot of questions about you. And sometimes it irritates you. Sometimes you feel like, I mean, can't you just mind your own business? You know, people would say, why are you wearing a coat when you are indoors? I kept recording videos dressed this way. And people were like, oh, he's probably broke. You know, he can't afford it this. He cannot afford it. He can't. I'm the type, I know myself that to be somebody that anytime I sit by the heater, right by the heater, I don't feel fine. I would just have chronic flu. So I just, and I realized that my body is able to adapt even to the cold weather by when I'm able to just put something heavy like this jacket or this whatever hoodie. I have several other coats, heavy coats that I can wear. And I realized that anytime I'm indoors, if I'm outside, it's different. But if I'm indoors and I'm wearing a coat, I'm always fine. Where let's say the cold actually gets me is through my hands and my feet. So I started thinking of, okay, how do I protect my hands and my feet? So I got myself the gloves, and I also got myself. I just use some of my shoes. Okay, I have some shoes already. So what I do is I would, after bathing, I make sure, after, you know, of course, cleaning myself, I wait a bit for my feet to dry. And when my feet dry, you know, because I don't want to be wearing shoes all the time indoors. That would let I would start to have foot rot or something. So I don't want that. So I make sure my feet are well dried, right? And after my feet are dried, I wear my socks and wear my shoes, right? Like some sneakers that I have. I just put it on. They are very loose, so I don't feel any pressure on my feet. So they are actually bigger than my size. I wear those sneakers, and then I put on my gloves, put on a jacket, and I'm fine. If it's very cold, I would use a blanket and then tie it around my feet. Okay, just tie it around my feet, cover my feet with it, and sit down as I'm sitting with it. And with that heavy blanket covering my lower self, my feet, and I'm wearing shoes, and I'm also wearing gloves that keep my hands warm. And then I'm wearing a hoodie like this or any other jacket. I'm good to go. And this is how I've been able to survive the winter. Now, as we speak, we are in what, March 2025. And can you believe that in March 2025? So look at what happened. When I in November, sorry, in December, by turning on just one heater, I still recorded 129 euros. When I turned off both heaters in January, I recorded 87 euros. In February, I recorded what, 83 euros. Can you imagine that? From 200 now to 83 per month. All right. Now in March, today is the 23rd of March 2025. And on the 23rd of March 2025, okay, my bill, my what do they call it? My current bill for the month of 2025, today the 23rd, as of the 23rd of March, meaning we are just left with like 7 days, 30 days as September, April, June, and November. Okay, so 8 days for the month to end. And I have what, 46 euros, which means my bill for this month is going to be most likely probably 50 something or 60 or maximum 70 euros, 60 something euros thereabout for the month of March. And after March, winter is already over. The bills would go down again. All right. So, meaning I was able to survive the whole winter without paying excessive bills. And what explains this? Scientifically, it could be that, you know, when you, like I said, everything goes through your mind. When you program your mind, that's why even people are able to do, is it ice diving, or they swim in ice? I think in Eastern Europe, like Russia, people do it. People go, like, they dive into the icy water, cold water, and they're able to, like, you wondering how are they able to survive? Which means everything is in your mind. Remember, it's even your brain that regulates your hypothalamus, if I'm not mistaken, that regulates your body temperature. So, I'm not saying by this saying that you should try this at home. Also, go through your winter without. Uh, if you could do it, fine. I was able to do it. Like I said, I've shown you what I use. I use these gloves. I'm always wearing big sneakers to cover my feet. Uh, I'm always wearing a jacket. Sometimes I would use a blanket when it's excessively cold to cover my feet. All right. And I'm good to go. But if you are the type who cannot withstand, I mean, cold at all, you probably would need to maybe turn off some of your heaters and leave some on. However, you are going to adapt. But I just wanted to let you know that it's possible. Everything is in your mind. So, scientifically, like I was saying, once you tell your mind that I am ready to face this situation, your mind would prepare you for that. E- Also, for instance, I'm on the ground floor. So, heat from the other buildings also warms my room in indirectly, right? Heat from the surroundings, you know, keep me warm. I mean, heat from people above. If they have turned on their heaters, I'm going to benefit from that indirectly. You get it? So maybe that also, but if I should be here without covering my feet and my hands, even with this jacket, I'm still going to feel cold. So I make sure that I have this on. and these gloves are designed in such a way that I can use my phone with it, all right, without having any issues. So come on. If I could do it, why not you? Let's and when I was doing this, some people labeled me as somebody that is in French they say he's electro econome, you know. In English it's like you are too frugal, not frugal per se, yeah, but that's what they literally mean, though they may try to be polite, but they try to say, oh, you are kind of you are a minimalist. Okay, you are a minimalist. You don't really want to spend. You don't. That's why people started labeling me. He's probably broke. I receive all those critics, and I was like, you are entitled to your opinions. I know who I am, and I know what I'm up to, and I know how I feel. If I know that sitting by the heater makes me sick, and my office is in such a way that I have to sit close to the heater, my home office, of course, and I often work from home a lot. I'm also a content creator, and I know that sitting by the heater makes me feel sick. I wouldn't do that just to please people. Of course, if I'm recording my videos wearing gloves like this, people would have their opinions. Like, why is he home? Or, of course, my audience wouldn't know why I am dressed the way I am. Some people might not even know I'm home, so that is not even a big deal. But people who know me would say, why is he always home and he's wearing gloves? Why is he home? And, but I would listen to myself. You get it? I just I understand that we have our individual differences, and you should love yourself for who you are. If people who care about you, and especially if those people are close to you, they would try to understand you, and some of them may even want to join your way of life. You might be an inspiration to them. Apart from that, people who don't know you, their opinions, if it's constructive and you think it can help you improve, make use of that. If their critics are not constructive, then just listen to them if necessary. But anyway, they leave you. Do what works for you. Hope you got some inspiration from this video, and thank you so much for listening. And please remember to subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye for now.